Camera is not connected.
Yes, sir. We're waiting for other cameras to join us.
That won't work. We want them to see you.
Yeah, because before they start, they
Then you can disconnect that and connect on the laptop.
unable.
Good evening, Harinwar.
Good evening. Hello, good evening. Unmute చేసుకో. Here.
Done speaking.
Hello.
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 Hello, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. Now I'll mute it.
Who is that? Good evening, all of you.
How are you doing, Dr. Padma?
Good evening, Mr. Prasad, Mr. Rajgopal. Good evening, Rajgopal sir.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Long time since Mr. Rajgopal spoke for some time.
Yeah, let's carry on if you want. Otherwise, that doesn't work.
Oh.
You can come. They were saying good evening. Hello, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Mr. Rajgopal sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. Jagdishan speaking. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Problem.
How's your health, sir? Mr. Rajgopal.
Hello.
How's your health, Mr. Rajgopal?
எடுக்கணுமா இங்க இல்ல?
Don't speak in micro. Girls speaking, I'm not speaking. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Done speaking. I'll mute my microphone. Jagadish speaking, new member. Hello, hello,
Yeah, please come in.
hello. My name is Jagadish. I'm the new member, joined very recently this week.
Okay. That's
And
nice of you.
hello,
Yeah.
yeah, hello. I couldn't talk. I couldn't see you. Hello. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. I'll speak again. Something again. I'll speak. But I couldn't see. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello, hello.
I am Padmanabhan, PK Padmanabhan.
Yeah, please come in.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening,
Okay.
sir. Ganeshan sir, நான் பழனி பேசுறேன்.
Good evening,
Good
everybody.
evening, sir.
Good evening,
Palani
good
Swami.
evening. Good evening to
Fine,
everybody.
fine,
Good
fine.
evening to Mr. Palani.
Okay. Okay, we start with today's meeting. Today's meeting is by Dr. Noor-e-Nisa Begum S. He's the Associate Professor, Center for Conservation of Natural Resources. Dr. Noor-e-Nisa Begum has a research over the last 20 years, and she has focused on establishment of FRLH herbarium and raw drug repository of medicinal plants used in Indian system medicine as well as traded in the country. She has initiated virtual herbarium so that the herbarium is accessible to the wider world. She has worked on projects spanning diversified areas, namely conservation, ethnobotany, the study of trade of medicinal plants in India, pharmacognosy, climate change, revisiting of the MPCA, funded by the MOEF, Department of Science and Technology, NMPV, State Biodiversity Board, State Medicinal Plant Board, National Biodiversity Board, World Bank, CSR funds from industries, etc. The key research area is the study of botanicals as resource, the conservation as well as the utilization using modern tools. Her career is to engage with MSc and PhD students, young people interested in designing and executing innovative educational and outreach programs related to pharmacognosy, ethnobotany, trade of medicinal plants, conservation of medicinal plants, floristics of angiosperms, and the database. She is involved in authentication service of confirming and validating the identity of herbarium specimens and the drug array and the raw drug samples of various stakeholders. Now, speaking about our expertise and achievement, she has been selected imported project complete by the Center for Excellence, MOEFF, Government of India 2002 to 2017, Demand and Supply of Medicinal Plants in India, NMPB, Status and Distribution of Paris, Polyphylla, Smith, and Panax, pseudoginseng wall, medicinal plants in selected localities in western districts of Arunachal Pradesh, threatened flora and fauna of Telangana, study of highly traded species like Percata Pringi, Dabur India Limited. She's got ongoing research and education outreach projects, which are totaling approximately about 19 of them. She has traversed the length and breadth of India including Chhattisgarh, Pondicherry, Andhra Pradesh, then the government of Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India, Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Danida, Government of Denmark, United Nations Development Program, UNDP, New Delhi, under the Global Environment Facility Secretariat is also done the roadmap of medicinal plants of Goa. It has done the National Biodiversity Authority of flowering plants in Karnataka and for the Chennai Tamil Nadu Biodiversity Conservation for the Tamil Nadu Forest Department. Then she's done the Arunachal Pradesh State Pradesh Medicinal Plant Board, Arunachal Pradesh. Then preparation of checklist of the threatened flora and fauna of the state of Telangana. And developing and strengthening of the herbarium and raw drug repository, Divanti by Dabur Private Limited, study of bottleneck and formation of gauze in pistachia, Inti Garima, Dabur for Dabur India Limited, and impact of climate change by the Ministry of Forests and Government of India, study of phenological response of endemic plants, Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India, development of an electronic database of medicinal plants of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, revisiting of old MPCA West Bengal Forest Department, detailed assessments of medicinal plants and aromatic map species, including their collection, usage, demand, markets, price trends, and life cycle, focusing on the landscape and Sikkim. As you have seen, she's acquired expertise throughout the length and breadth of India in this field. We invite Dr. Meherunisa Begum to kindly speak to us and enlighten us on the subject. We are not.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and good
We are
evening,
experts
one
in
and all.
different fields, but you are the expert in this field.
I would try to be as simple as possible so that we understand only the concept and not definitely needed to understand the technicality. So today I would be talking about the trade. Like we all know, rice, dal, spices, condiments. There is a large proportion of trade happening in medicinal plants. Now, during the COVID, you would have seen many of us running for different kashayans. So like that, there's a huge herbal industry that depends on the trade of medicinal plants. And if you're just using without conserving, then you're going to lose it. So this is what I'm going to say. I actually would give the invitation to all of you to visit our institution, which is there in Yelahanka. This is how our campus looks. It's a kind we have a garden which is very unique with 1,500 medicine plant species. We do have Rudraksh tree. You do have plants like insectivorous. You have several interesting plants, which I'm sure you're going to enjoy when you walk in. We have a 100-bed hospital, which is very, very exclusive with Ayurveda treatment. And it takes care of acute health issues, especially the old age problem, geriatric, and its specialization in almost every ailment. And we have done a lot of work in revitalizing local health and tradition. That means we are trying to document the knowledge that is there with our traditions, and then we are trying to revive that. We do have a modern labs which is established, and I belong to a herbarium and raw drug repository. Now, what is a herbarium where I work? It's something like a library. In library, you have a lot of books. So I come from a place where we are collecting plants.
What? The video or
From different places, and we are putting that. Now, before I just say these are the plants that have been traded, we have to understand how beautiful it is. We have almost interesting places which capture those plants which are found nowhere in the world. So you have Himalaya with the highest number of plant species, that is almost 4,000 plants, which are there only in Himalaya and nowhere in the world. So imagine you have to conserve Himalayan area. Now you have Western Ghats. Again, if you see, you have about 2,000 species which are very, very unique only to that area. So when it is unique to that particular area, you use the word endemic. So this is the importance of a country. Therefore, we do have a vast scope of medicine plant diversity and those that are traded. I would be happy if you're not able to understand, you can stop me anywhere and ask the questions. Now, why do you have this diversity? Now, if you see the European countries, you do have a monotonous kind of a landscape or vegetation. But here in our country, you have desert at one place, you have snow and mountains at one place, you have rich evergreen forest one place, then you have a coastal mangroves at one place. You have a high variations in altitude from very high rainfall like in Agumbe, and then you do have very high change in climatic conditions also. Is my screen visible to you all? Hello? Hello? Is my screen visible to you all?
Yeah, I'm able to see it, madam. We are able to see.
Okay, and my voice is also clear, isn't it?
Yeah, very clear. Thank you.
So when I'm talking about the plants, where are these plants used? They are used in two different systems. Now, what are the two different systems? One system which has a written documentation. That means the sages at that time, they had written every detail of the plant in the form of shloka, its uses, its applications, its properties, and there were several books. Now, like if you are from IT, you may have so many texts. Similarly, in Ayurveda, you have so many old classical texts like Charaka Samhita, Sushrita. So they are the place where they had written every plant information. So there is a written documentation. What are these different systems? You have Ayurveda, which has written documentation. You have Siddha in Tamil Nadu. You have Unani. You have in Tibetan era, which is called as Sowa Rigpa. So these are the medical systems where you have a written documentation. Now, another is even more interesting. This is something which your great grandmother would have told, that you have to sit like this, you have to eat like this, you should not eat these plants, you should not eat this food. So and you have to cook the food in these vessels. There are so many do's and don'ts, and that has come nowhere written form, but it is passed on only through the oral. So this is called as oral tradition. That is a codified tradition. This is a non-codified tradition where everything comes through oral system. So you do have a lot of Hakim, Vaidyas who are still carrying this knowledge, and they are keeping these traditions alive. Please don't get confused with my technical words. I'm trying to simplify as simple as possible. Now, how old is our culture? Our culture is more than 3,000 years back. Now, we are saying Chinese medical system and all those things. So you are also having a very, very old medical system history. So now, if you are saying 3,000, how many communities are using this? Now, we think that ethnic tribe means you have Jarwa tribes or Kani tribes or those other tribes. Even you, me, and each one of us belong to a particular tribe. As per the API of Government of India, you have about 4,600 ethnic communities. So each one of you belong to a particular ethnic tribes. Now, what is this community? It will have its own fixed culture, rituals, habit, practices, and a lot of norms, which is very, very specific to that particular community. Now, we have the institute where I work. So we wanted to know how many plants are used in these different medical systems. We made a database. So our database today has about 8,000 plant names. So the table that you are showing is telling us how many plants are used in different medical systems. This red color says the unique medicinal plants, and the cross tabulation says there is an overlap. Okay, so we don't need to get confused about this. But interestingly, we can come to know that the highest number of medicine plant is used in folk system. So that is the wide importance that is given to our traditional system. Now, I will take you all to different parts of the country, and we will have a look at what are the plants that are occurring. They are just a significant kind of plants. And the gossamer and sea buckthorn. Sea buckthorn has more than 70 medicinal uh, outputs from there. It is an energizer. And you have another somalata, which even in our classical text, it is said as somarasa is there. So it gives you a kind of relief. So we are talking about the trans-Himalayan region, where you have about 700 medicine plants. Can you just imagine the place where you have snow, the place where you have absolutely inhabitable situation? You have still 700 medicine plant species. Now, as you move towards the central and east Himalayas, now you will see a very interesting plant like Taxus wellichiana. You can see the red color fruit which is hanging down. Now, this is the bark is used for cancer treatment. So this is very, very important. And then you do have ginseng. I'm sure all of us know about ginseng. So in India, we don't have actually the ginseng. We have Panax pseudo ginseng. So this is a particular plant which is there, and you have Jatamansi where the roots are traded. Okay. Now, when we move a little down from your alpine Himalayan region, you can see very, very interesting wild hing. I'm sure we all use in our kitchen hing. Okay, so there is a wild hing called as Perula jexkiana. Then you have another important plant called as here Athis. Athis is Econitum heterophyllum, which is almost about 8,000 to 10,000. Sometimes it reaches to even 20,000 rupees a kilo. Now, what happens is because this root is very, very restricted in its population and very costly, they adulterate it with what is adulteration? It's a mixing up. So, with another common species. Now, when we come to the extreme northeast, we do have agar. Now, we all know about ether. Okay, so ether is obtained from agar plant. Okay, and here what happens, a tree, a fungus infects the tree. So only when there's a fungal infection, the wood becomes black, and then that black wood is the one which gives you the essence or ether. It's then again taken, processed, and you get the ether. And the more purest form, the more costly. It's in crores, the actual cost of the thing. And the more second grade, third grade, fourth grade, the lesser the price you have. Okay. So I'm sure lavanja is a kind of a root that we all would have used some part of the time where excess heat, you use the root in the water and it is used as a coolant. So in Northeast itself, you have about 2,000 medicine plant species. Now, what do you think about Rajasthan or Gujarat? You think that it's very dry, it's a desert region. So what would be there? So that also has about 1,000 medicine plants. And the most important, there is a fascinating product called as gugulu. Now, this is used for ortho care. If you have fallen, broken bone, and if you're trying to lose weight, then you have gugulu, which is obtained from this plant, which is called as Commiphora vitae. So now this is very, very important. Now you have another important plant called as gokru or gokshura. Now, what do you mean by gokshura? Go means guy, that is cow. Shura means hoof. That means when the cow walks, when it keeps the leg on this fruit, the spines go and get stuck to the hoof of the cow. Therefore, the name Gokshura. So imagine, I'm sure many of you would have not liked botany because of the names, but then that time itself, there was so much easy in the naming so that one can always remember the plant. Now, this is another place where you have spiny fruit, which is Indriyan, and then this is yellow flowering tree, which is a very unique plant, a tree to the desert region. Again, this place has about 500 plants. Now we are coming to a largest area of the um, country. Now, all these regions, what I'm talking is they have been a standardized classification, because if you want to do conservation, if you want to do any work, then you need to know which region can you go, because the agroclimatic regions will be same, the characters would be same. Therefore, these classifications are done. So what you're seeing here is Magaleberu. I'm sure if somebody goes to Malleshwaram, you will get a very aromatic root which is used for making pickle. So that is called as Magaleberu. And then you have Dakhalakwen, which is Tyrocarpus marsupium, where I don't know if you are diabetic, today in the market, you get a glass made of wood. So in the night, what you do is you put the water in that glass, and then early morning, you have it on an empty stomach. And then you do have that shining flowers. It is Gloriosa superba, which is, as the name itself says, Gloriosa means it is very full of glory, and superba is superb. So the botanist, when he saw the plant, he said superb. So the name came Gloriosa superba. Now we are coming to the very narrow but very, very important region called as Western Ghats. Now I'm sure in the kitchen you would have seen jaifal. Your family would be using it as a spice. So it's also called as nutmeg. Okay, so you have two types of nutmegs which are available. So they are predominantly available in the Western Ghats region. And then you have Daru Haridra. Now, again, if you're diabetic, this is a particular yellow color stem, which you make a decoction or like a water extract, and then you have it on the empty stomach. So imagine the beauty of a culture, that they knew that this particular plant that you are seeing here is Cocinium fenestratum, is there only in Western Ghats. But you have Daru Haridra in North India also. So the sages at that time, they called Berberis aristata. There is another species which is only found in Himalayan region. So that was called as Daru Haridra, and South Cocinium fenestratum or Maramanjal was called as Daru Haridra. So they also do the distribution of the plant species. And then you do have down Aryogya Pacha. Now this is a very interesting plant where National Botanical Research Institute director, Dr. Pushpangadan, he went to Kerala, Agastya Malai, with a team of botanists. So when he was going with the tribal community of Kani tribes, he found that they were getting tired, but the Kani tribe were not getting tired at all. They would just disappear, eat something, and come back. So now Dr. Pushpangadan said, first day, second day happened, and then he requested them that kindly let us know how you people are energetic and we are getting drained out. So these people were hesitant because they knew that this particular information is only for their community. But then they were promised that if something comes out, they will be benefited. So from this came out a research, and there is a product called as Jivaniya. That means it is an energy giving. And today there's an access benefit sharing best example, where when you buy even a single bottle, the benefit goes to the tribal community of Kani tribe. So you do have such good examples. And then you do have fruits which are hanging here. I'm sure many of you would have used in the kitchen. For fish curries, you have pulikulambu. So this is used in place of tamarind. The extreme coastal region. If any of you belong from coastal region, you would have seen this from the tree when they're falling. There is a opposite root which just stand up. Now, why is it? Because in the water, they are not able to breathe. So you have breathing roots which are opposite and coming out of the root. Now, this is the rich diversity that you have. And therefore, there's a high potential of plants being traded. Now, I'm not going to go into the detail of the trade, but imagine that you have so much of important resources that are being traded. Now, what part or which part of these plants are being traded? So as this table shows, the highest part which is traded is roots, and then fruits, and then whole plant. Now, the sad thing is, because of this part, there it affects the regeneration status. Now, if you're uprooting the root itself, how will the plant again regenerate? Or if you are going to use away the complete fruit, then how there is going to be a next generation germination. If you're using the whole plant, then there is no way of next possibility of having the new seedlings. So this is a table which also gives you a seriousness that our trade is happening with different parts. So is it so easy when I just say the trade is happening and then it's going? So when you see in the market, you see your watermelon. I'm sure some of you would remember that you in your old childhood days, you would see the watermelon coming only in summer. They used to have thick seeds. They used to be more sweet and more red in color. But today you have Kiran, which is there throughout the year. Okay, so it's a horticulture variety. So there is a lot of development which is happening so that there is availability of the resource. On the contrary, you do have shortage of material, or there are people who, due to the misbehaving, they mix the wrong item into the actual authentic plant. Now, as simple as when you're talking of piper, I'm sure we all know what is a piper. Okay, pepper you eat in your house. Now, do you can you imagine that even the pepper could be adulterated? You do have I don't know if you know a plant called as lantana. It is a beautiful flowering plant. Those fruits are used. Then you have papaya seeds which have been adulterated. Then you do have several ornamental plants wherever the seeds have the warty kind of appearances. They are being just mixed with this particular species. So I'm not here to scare you that there is this happening, but it is to just get awareness that we need to understand what is required. Now, when we look at ginger, I'm sure we all have been using left and right ginger during the COVID times. Now, you do have, if you're using the authentic ginger, then you also have a possibility of reading newspapers where there's a high lead content. Okay, because it's the area where your cultivation is happening. Then, if you're getting a good ginger, then you do have to use it as a full rhizome. If you're using it as a powder, we need to be careful because you do have again adulteration of getting mixed with either lime or with the other imported gingers. Now, this is clove. Okay, so clove is very important as a spice as well as medicinal. So what they do actually in the market is they just distill, remove the complete essence of it, and what you're just getting is just a physical structure. Okay, so and you do have adulteration with any some other earthly materials also. Now you have hing. I'm sure we all use hing left and right. So even hing is been adulterated with various powders, which will make the volume look the same. So they do have a synthetic material which will help you to get the similar taste. But then you do have a adulteration. So this I've just picked a few examples. I'm sure when we bake the cake, all of us have love for using vanilla essence. So you have vanilla essence also being adulterated. So you have to be very careful when you are looking into the raw material. Now you have saffron with many of our cultures saying that the pregnant women should have it and it's very good. So there is a highest possibility of adulteration in this because usually the tip of the flower, there's a projection where only the stigma has to be used. Stigma is that three ending portion, okay, in the flower. So that only has to be used. But sometimes what happens as a second grade, third grade, you use the whole flower, or you do have other plants, flowers also just mixed it up and also used. And it is okay if you use this, but you also get the synthetic material which is being used. Uh, so I'm sure when you look at this particular plant, your grandmother or the family would have used it for treatment of jaundice. So this is called as Bhumi Amla, or because Amla looking fruits are there on the ground. Okay, it's just about 10 feet tall or maximum 15, not feet, I mean to say inches. Okay, so now if you look, don't get into the technicality. There are some line diagrams that you're seeing on the right hand side of every plant. Now, if you just see for every plant, those line diagrams are different. Now, when you look from chemistry point, the actual plant is Phyllanthus amaris, which is used for jaundice. Now, that is on the right hand side of my slide, which is the last plant. Now, that has a good potential of phyllanthine and hypophyllanthine. But when you don't know the plant and you use the wrong plant, okay, which are the above 3 species, botanically, I know the difference, but as a common man, you cannot know the difference. And when you use it, then you say that Ayurveda is not working, the herbs are not working because these plants don't have the percentage of phyllanthine and hypophyllanthine. How can you get cured when you are not using the right plant? Now, this is, I'm sure all of us have known this particular plant. And there's a particular festival in Bangalore I have seen where there is called as Tulsi Puja, where a lot of branches have been logged and you're selling them for the puja. So there is 2 types of amla. One which is found only restricted, that is endemic. As I told earlier, endemic means restricted to a particular region. So that particular plant is called as Phyllanthus indoficeri, and our common amla is Phyllanthus emblica. Now what happens? The collector or the harvester, he doesn't know botanically what are the 2 different species. He just logs both the plants and they get, because the fruits are looking same. But botanically, we know here what you're seeing is 2 different leaves. So number of leaflets are different. The size of the leaf is different. So there's a lot of technical differences, but ignorance causes depletion of a particular plant, which is very, very rare in its distribution. Okay. Now, this is another plant I have already explained about the Gokshura. Now, I'm sure if you are from a village side, you would have seen this particular plant growing as a weed on the roadside or in your field or ponds. Now, very common plant. So you can think that, okay, there's absolutely no problem of adulteration. But there are other species which are very, very much similar to it, and they get adulterated to the particular species. The Tulsi. I'm sure we all think that, okay, I am going to get the organic Tulsi and that's going to be the best. But there is the Ban Tulsi. Ban means forest Tulsi, which is coming from Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. Now, this is not your true Ocimum tenuiflorum. So one needs to understand. Now you have Ashtavarga. I'm sure we all know about Ashtavarga, which is used in Chavanparash. You would have seen a lot of families using it, a lot of TV ads coming it. And then Ashta means 8 and Varga means groups. So you have plants from the 8 groups. Now what happens is the plant population in Himalayas itself is very restricted. So when you have a restricted population, hardly 50 individuals in the Himalayas, that means in the whole world, they are found only in the Himalayan region. How can an industry have the facility of putting those in the Chavanparash as a product? Then what happens is you have a possibility of using a commonly available plant in place of that particular restricted species. Now, another example that I would be taking is Ashoka. Now, I'm sure when I say Ashoka tree, all of you would say that, yeah, we have seen Ashoka tree, which is on the roadside. Now, that is not actually the Ashoka, which is traded. All right. So the red color flowers that you're saying is the actual Ashoka tree. Now, the population of this particular species is there in Karnataka, Goa, and Orissa. Very few plants in Kerala, 1 or 2 trees in Andhra. Then you have in Tripura, Meghalaya, Mizoram. Okay, all are just few in number. very, very few in number now. But in Karnataka, Goa and Orissa, you have a good population. Now, when we have been doing the study over the 20 years, we found that 16,000 trees are there. I'm telling the count. And not a single tree has been debarked. Now, when the tree is not debarked, then in Ayurveda, you have a very important Ashoka Arishtam, a particular product which is used for the women health care. So which is that plant which is going in the preparation where you are not having amount of Ashoka tree available to meet the industry demand? So you have adulteration of several species. I'm not going into the detail. And our study can help you in bioprospecting. That means it can yield into the authenticity. So today, if you see any of the plant product, you see the plant names written to it. They have to say, this is as per the Ashtanga Hridaya, Shloka so and so, or so much. So that is the kind of rules that you are getting. Okay. So now I've been telling you about the adulterations and the problems. Okay, so we can't be just crying about the problem. Have the institution done something? Yes. So over the 20 years, what we did is, like for conserving the animals, like for tigers, you have Bandipur Tiger Reserve. For a rhinoceros, you have Kaziranga National Park. So for animals, you have a dedicated park. Can any of you tell me, is there a park which is there for conserving plants? A particular species? Are you deciding some kind of a area? So of late, we have started this kind of a conservation program. It's called as in situ. In situ means within the forest, within its habitat. Okay, so you are trying to conserve. And how do you conserve? Where there is a good population. So those areas you can't, I just can't say in Bangalore I'm going to have one conservation area. I should have the good population of particular A species. Then species means plant. So that we have to have. Then only you can establish a conservation area. And when you establish an area, you do have a lot of research happening and you can do a lot of studies. Now there are two different sites that we established. Now, what are the sites called? They are called as medicinal plant conservation areas. They are called as MPCAs. I'm sure if any of you have gone to BRT Hills, Savandurga, or Kudremukha, or Kemengundi, you would have seen a particular area written as MPCA with an arch and then two stages on both the sides. So this is a particular area that we have demarcated. One is a general species diversity. When we started in 93, we really didn't know how to go about the conservation. And we just demarcated about 200 hectares or 300 hectares area. And we said that, okay, this is an area with rich medicine plant diversity. Therefore, this has to be a MPC. Then we understood. We finally started doing a workshop called as Conservation Assessment Management Prioritization. Please don't get confused with this terminology. This is a process where we sit, all the technique experts, we sit in a room for like Karnataka. All of us who have been working in the field of Karnataka, we sit and then we will prioritize, okay, these are the 45 plant species which are very important for Karnataka. Now, anybody who does propagation or conservation or breeding or research, they have to concentrate on this particular species. So now after that program, we started getting the focus. Okay, now these are the species that have to be treated as very, very important. Now, how I'm telling, like you have a hospital. In a hospital, if you have a health issue, I have a stomach pain. I just go and I come back with a tablet. Okay, some plants are like that. They're having some problem, but you don't have to really worry about it. But you need to be cautious. Then you do have certain plants, okay, which they get admitted for 10 days. Now, they are like people who have acute diarrhea or breathing problem. They get admitted, but they can come out. So that category is called as endangered. Okay, so plants come into that category of endangered. Then beyond that is critically endangered. That means there are some patients who go into the ICU. All the doctors, everybody is running to take care of that patient because you have to work on him. You lose any time or any kind of methodology, you're going to lose that patient. So those plants who enter into the critically endangered ICU level, they become the focus. So we try to establish NPCAs for those kind of species. I hope I'm trying to simplify as much as possible. Here, the different states which are showing the number of NPCAs. Again, I repeat, medicine plant conservation areas that have been established. Now, if you see here, species focus, we started understanding more on plants and more NPCAs or species conservation started happening. Now, a few of the examples of the NPCAs. Now, I'm sure we will have heard of Kollur. Kollur Mogambi temple is there, and there you have a rich wild population of Saraka Ashoka. So here you are trying to conserve the wild germplasm of Saraka Ashoka. We have already spoken of Saraka Ashoka, which is used in Ashoka ritual. This is again, I have already spoken about Daroharidra, Cocinium fenestratum, which is a woody liana. So this particular population we found in Kerala in Kulamau. Okay, so we have established an NPCA there to establish this. Now you have, if you're seeing that vertical mountain, there is a place where these particular plants are growing. Now imagine on the vertical height, first of all, these plants, they have those fruits which are having wings. When they dehydrate, they give the wings. They just run away. So for them to sit on the substratum is very difficult. So by biological mean itself, they have the difficulty. So we have to now find a unique habitat for them. So this is their habitat. Second, the roots are eaten by the boars. There are a lot of fruits which are eaten by the insect. The tribal communities, they use the roots for the peptic ulcers. So there is a pressure from humans. There is a unfavorable condition by the nature. Therefore, this particular area has been conserved. You have another plant, which is called as Decalepis arealpatra or Janakya arealpatra. So now the name sounds, I'm sure you'll be finding it so difficult to understand the names. Now let me just try to explain how the name means. Janakya arealpatra. Janakya Ammal is a female, very eminent botanist who gave her complete life in developing the botany field. If today you're having sugar, sweet, earlier your sugarcane plant was not sweet. So in Coimbatore, she did the breeding, and that is how today you got the sweet sugarcane. So this name has been given to honor Janakya Ammal, Janakya. Then Aryal Patra. Aryal in Malayalam means people, and Patra means leaf. Therefore, the name of the plant is Janakya Aryal Patra, means the leaf which is looking like a people. And names you can't just give to anybody. Just because I love my son and my husband, I can't honor the plant name on them. I have to honor those people who have committed the whole life to this science, and they have contributed to the society. Only on their name, the plant name can be honored. There's lots of rules and regulations. Like in the hospital, you have rules, regulations, you have traffic rules and regulations. In plant names also, we have very, very strong rules and regulations. Now, I'm just taking you across of the NPCA so you can have a look how conservation is happening. In BRT Hills also, you'll see similar like this. You have an arch which with the two saints. And then this is typically how the forest will look. And we are trying, this is only after our fieldwork. We have come to know what are the medicine plants, how many medicine plants are used in which system, how many species are there in trade. So different analysis we try to do. What are the habits? Because if it's more herbs, then we'll have to think about it and then do more conservation effort. And if it is tree, you'll have to work on different way of conserving. And then you should have all regeneration, healthy regeneration status. Example, example, in a village, if you see all are old people, about 80 years, that's the most unhealthy village because you don't have the second generation happening. Now, if you have all who are only small children, then again, it's going to be a kind of a big gap. So how a population should be, you should have a balance. You have small children, middle age, old age, so that the cycle keeps going. So like this, even in this forest, we should have a healthy regeneration status happening. So these are few of the plants, which I'm not going into the details. But in NPCS, we do have capturing of particular important plants. Now, this is very interesting just to have a look at it. Imagine how old the tree is and the girth is so big. Okay, so that's a kind of a size of the plant. Usually when we go into the forest, we do have a forest department team. You can never do any work without the local communities, therefore local communities there. And we do have a technical thing. Now, even though you have NPCA, which is supposed to be no harvest zone, that means you should not do any harvest in that particular area. Still, you can see a lot of grazing and you can have a lot of community using the plants for their daily livelihood. So what you have to do, you have to involve the community also in the conservation. Now, if I just say, okay, leave your house, work and everything and please conserve, then you will say that how will I live? How will I survive? So then you have to give them a very good livelihood model so that they will understand, okay, now this is my NPCA, this is my area, this is I have to take care of my plant, and this is how my livelihood comes. So FLHT has come out with a very good successful livelihood model. Now this is not required. So this is just a map showing that in India, where all we have established the conservation areas. Wherever it is very technical, I'm just not going to that slide. This is Savandurga. I'm sure many of you would have seen Savandurga. So it's a beautiful place, which is dry deciduous forest with where you have the rich population of Magalaperu. This is in Kerala, which is another different type of forest thing. Then you do have a dry evergreen forest. And then you have Kodikarai MPCA, which is again having a very wet temperate forest. Now this is our team. This is in Sikkim. So this is just before the snow, where we have to go do the sample, lay out the plant, count the number of individuals. And then you just can't go and say that I have done my survey. For every plant individuals, you take the GPS reading. So now for that GPS reading, you have to take the details. And then this is the certain species from the northeast area. Now this is just a table where you have to document the plants. This is typically a herbarium where if you visit our institution, you will see this herbarium where you have more than 45,000 sheets. Now I was talking about the specimen. When I say that I have gone to Sikkim, I have collected 1,000 specimen, you will say, where is the proof? So how do I show the proof? So my proof is the herbarium sheet. Herbarium sheet is a handmade paper, which is acid free, which is going to have a shelf life of more than 500 years. So on these, we are trying to dry the plants, process it as per a norm, international norm, paste it, and then keep it. You're seeing the racks. So they're the place where we keep the specimens. So our institution herbarium is the only herbarium in the whole world which is working on the medicine plants of India. So it's a very unique collection that we have had. We are just a team of 3 people and 1 associate, and we have been focusing. Now, as I told about the trade, how will we understand about the trade unless we don't have our field experience? So this is the collection of every sample that we have seen in the forest and in the market. So those are the collections that you are there. They have been properly labeled. You don't need any of us to be there. They have been systematically arranged as per the ABCD format so that even a common man can go. Now, whatever we have been doing is useless if I don't reach out to the community. Now, we came out with a book, a compendium on traded medicine plants of India. This book was released on June 5th by our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji. And this is the only and the first kind of book that we have written on the plants that have been traded in the country. And we come out with a lot of educational material which have been given to the communities, schools, colleges, whoever come. We come out with a lot of picture guides because I told about so many plants. Now you will say that how will I identify? Because it's just in half an hour or 1 hour, you will not remember anything. So there is a kind of a photo guide that you can always keep it in your pocket and you can always carry it with you, which will help you in identification. Then we do have a lot of research and PhD work that is happening where the final output is been brought out as a book. So with this, I would be ending my talk. And I just want to, this is because herbarium sheet, I don't know how many of you know. So this is typically how we collect in the forest. We sit in the night, we go to the forest early morning by 4 and 5, reach in the forest by 6. Why we have to reach early morning? Because the flowers are fresh and we can write good characters. And then night we are coming, we are giving the tag and we have segregated all the plants. Then we are processing it with the chemical. And once it is processed, they have been tied in the form in the newspaper. And then the botanist, the sheet that he has in his hand is called as a herbarium sheet. Now, the oldest herbarium specimen in the world is about 450 years old. This is typically how a herbarium sheet looks like. And we do have eminent people's photograph who have contributed for the floristic work. This is Father Saldana, who has done a lot in the flora of Karnataka. Then you have Father Matthew, who is on my right-hand side. He has done a lot of work in flora of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. So this is just a brief I had to share. I have tried to be as simple as possible and not technical, but I hope you people could have some take-home message. I would be happy to now take up any kind of questions.
Yeah.
Mr. Prasad?
Yeah. Thank you very much for your enlightened talk.
Yes.
I mean, I think we need more sessions to understand the nitty-gritties of this. In one session, I don't think we are able to comprehend and understand everything.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it was a good start.
Yes.
I now ask Dr. Malati V. Gopal, our secretary, to propose the vote of thanks. Before that, if anybody has got any questions to be asked to Dr. Noori, you can go ahead and ask her.
If there's anyone, I mean, Madam, my name is Prem Kurian.
Yes, sir.
Firstly, I think it was like Mr. Prasad said, a very detailed presentation made by you covering a vast topic which we are all not aware of at all, but enlightening and interesting. That there's so much to it. I think that still needs to be painstakingly to be found out by the department, by all of you. My thing to you was that you mentioned about the 100-bed hospital, and it is being used for treatment. So, like you said, the proof of all of what you're doing is in the treatment which happens to the patients. How is what do you have? Would you say is the success or the number of patients, etc., who get treated at the hospital?
So first of all, I should say that I'm a first patient of that hospital, because when I met with a spine accident about 5 years back, so the wouldn't take the hospital name. They said that I would be on the bed for next 9 months. And that's the time though I have been working with the organization for more than 15 years, I never looked at that hospital. I said, kya hai Ayurveda? So then I started getting the call from the hospital, and they said that please get admitted for the 14 days treatment. And at the end of 14th day, I was up, and today I'm on my toes doing all my work by myself. So the success rate, especially of ortho, neuro, is absolutely high. You do have very well experienced physicians there. You have a modern parameter, so you can always say that, how are you getting better? So you can get yourself treated. For example, if you're a diabetic and you have gangrene. So I myself, I have seen a lot of people with extreme gangrene getting almost to the verge of operation. They have stopped and they have been treated with the Ayurvedic treatment. But yes, you should have a lot of patience. There's a lot of patya. That means do's and don'ts in the food. And it's only then that it will work out. And you will have to be absolutely under the doctor's control, because if you're at home, then you have your mind which is not relaxed. So every case which is there is almost getting 100% success. And most important, the youngsters who are about 30 years to 40 years, IT people, they are coming on Saturday, Sunday for rejuvenation. So there is something called as Abhyangam, which as per Ayurveda, every month we have to do re-oiling of a body. Like your car or a bike, you get your re-oiling done, or you get the servicing done. Though it's the best car that you would have invested so much of money, but still, if you don't do the servicing, you're gone for a toss. So your body needs re-oiling. And that is called as rejuvenation program. So I find that a lot of youngsters are now understanding that there is a rejuvenation important, because the stress level is very high, the lifestyle is very different. So that is improving. So from my perspective, the success rate is very high, provided you also cooperate. You just get the medicine and eat what you want and live the way you want, then I don't think anything would work out.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, my name is Seshadri.
Yes, sir.
Your talk was very good, covering all the efficacy of the plants, and it was very informative.
Yes.
What was interesting is that adulteration that is going on in the trade, which discredits the efficacy of this product. So can you tell me about what is the government doing on controlling the adulteration or investigation and all those things? Is there anything going on?
Absolutely, sir. So government is doing a lot of work. So today, any herbal industry, before they send any batch, they should have an authentication certificate. So I am one of the authenticating person. So we do a lot of phytochemical, molecular, macroscopic kind of analysis on the particular drug. And we say that, okay, the plant is A. If the plant is not A, then I write in a certificate saying that this is not plant A. So if I'm saying not A, that means he cannot process that particular batch for any kind of product development. Government is doing a lot of effort, but the whole issue is many people are not educated enough. So we have been now, FLHT is taking the personal interest. So especially for me, I take personal interest. I want to talk to people and share with them that, look, this is what is happening. Because unless we don't share the awareness, then people will not understand, and we can't blame the people. Industry also, for them, it is just a business. When I say a particular plant material, for them it is, they want 100 metric tons. So much product is to be done. They have to send it to US. They are not bothered. What is that plant? What is the material? But today, because the government is coming through tough rules, they are now doing good quality control assurance, and they are now seeing that things get in streamlined, especially the industry which are at a high level industry. The small level marketing industries, they still are yet to catch up. So government is taking a very, very good initiative. It's only that people have to get educated.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Any more questions? Rangaran? Oh. I think we call it a day. Can I ask Dr. our Secretary, Dr. Malati Gopal, to propose the vote of thanks? Uh, Dr. Malati, you have to unmute. Unmute. You're not unmuted. At the bottom screen, you see the speaker. You just press that. No, he's still unmuted.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
Dr. Noor Unisa Begum, it has been a pleasure listening to you. Your biodata has been very, very impressive. And all the 116 slides that you have showed us opened our eyes, though it may have been only a bird's view to a new field. You have given us a very detailed coverage of the medicinal plants of India, right across the breadth and length of our country. It is amazing that we have so many plants. And I hope that this research continues and we will be able to have more and more of it in our medical treatment. And I also thank the organizer, Mr. Prasad, for having invited you and giving us this opportunity to listen to you. My many thanks to all the 21 participants who have listened to you. I make mention of Rotarian Prem Kurian, our senior most member KV Rajgopal, and all the others. Thank you very much for having participated and for having made this session a wonderful and interesting session. Thank you.
And once the COVID situation ceases, I welcome you all to our institution, and please do come and have a look. And I'm sure you would love the plant with a lot of diversity there.
Thank you,
Yeah,
ma'am.
exactly.
We'll certainly organize a tour to visit your hospital, madam.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and speaking to all of us.
Thank
We're
you.
very, very nice and very happy that you have come and spoken to us. Really thankful. I have one small request. After the session, when the session is closing, please end the session from yourself, because you have been made the host. Normally I am the host, but this time accidentally you have made the host. So you have to end the meeting from your side.
Me, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I will end the meeting then.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah.
Can I end?